Boom. Redeem Yourself podcast in the house. It's a little different this evening. I got a special guest, Taylor.
Hey.
Hey. You know what? I'm going to get right to the shits. We're going to get busy. Y'all know the vibes. It's Monday night. By the time you hear this, it'll be Wednesday. Or whenever I can get to editing shit. We've been there for like an hour trying to make things happen. Got a solid interview. Let's make this shit happen. All right. And now I think we're ready after fucking with a lot of lights and such.
After I fixed the camera.
Yeah. Salute to you. Brand new to podcasting and you came in and saved the day.
I know. It's crazy. I mean, long-time listener, first-time caller type shit. I came in and saved the day.
You did the damn thing and I ain't mad at it at all, yo.
Yeah.
So, how I generally do the episodes, right? I start with like a check-in, see how your week was. Then I check in, and then we just move into a little bit about you. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Word. Well, with that said, how are you, ma'am?
You know, could be better, could be worse, but all things relative. Pretty good.
Good?
Yeah.
That's what's up. How was your week? Well, it's only Monday. So how was last week?
Last week.
We're going to do a check-in from last week.
Yeah, last week was good. It was busy. I feel like I'm always keeping myself kind of busier. Just... doing the adult thing.
Yeah, joys of recovery, right?
Yeah,
That's how that shit goes. I mean, it's just one of them things, man. It's the joys of recovery. We get the adult and shit.
Yeah.
As far as myself, I don't know what the fuck is up with his mic.
Do you need me to fix the mic too?
Maybe, but I think I got it. Like, God damn it. It's one of them days, man. I swear.
I mean, it's Monday, so.
Yeah, and this shit is all of Monday all the way through.
It is. But
as far as myself, I don't know. Life has been pretty good lately.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just said on here several times, I'm in like a really cool kind of manifestation phase in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, just chilling, meditating a lot, back in the gym, trying to make some things pop off. We got Mr. Recovery Outdoors in the building. You can yell like hi from across the room. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting some things knocked out. Strength in Time, Recovery Outdoors. Always start the podcast off always by saluting Point 5 down in Carytown, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, where we reside. All your non-alcoholic beverages. Go down there, go see Jody and my friend Taylor and the rest of the family. Say what's up. Shout out to my boy Chris doing the Charged Up University. All your real estate needs, you're trying to get into real estate, that is the crew to go see, help you change the trajectory of not only your life, but your family's life as well. And everything is golden. And with that, you know what? I'm going to just get right into it. I posted a status the other day, and I was like, yo, who do I need to talk to get on Redeem Yourself podcast, say what's up, come in, tell their story, inspiration or that whatever's on your mind, because this shit is about you. You feel me?
Yeah.
Word. So without that, yo, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Okay. Oh God, this is like I'm not good with the introducing myself.
You'll be fine. Let's do it.
All right. So Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi. Born and raised in Virginia, so not too far out from there. But either way, 26. Been sober for...
Young buck.
Young. But lived lifetimes.
Word.
Trust me.
Word.
But got sober when I was 24. It'll be a year and a half on the 25th.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
What an accomplishment.
I know, it's crazy.
What part of Virginia did you grow up in?
Nova.
Why you say it like that?
It's not bad. You know, it's just, I'm the typical Nova transplant to RVA. So.
See, I only visit Nova. And every time I go up there, I'm like, man, this shit would be so smooth to live here.
Grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Grass is always greener.
It's like, yo, I can't wait to hear about this side of Nova then, because when I go, I get into the little nice hotel that's in walking distance to, you know, the Starbucks and all the eateries and shit. And I'm like, man, this.
So I should fully disclose that I grew up in Stafford County, which is like 30 miles south of DC and like Arlington and all the.
So not like near that shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like maybe like what I would compare it to here is like Goochland or some shit.
That's too
far.
I would say Stafford is more like Willow Lawn mixed with like Short Pump kind of.
All right, bet. You know, West End. West End is the best end, so it's not bad. You made the face like that shit is like.
There's a reason I don't live in the West End when I moved to Richmond too. So.
Okay, yo, say less. I dig it. I dig it.
No shade whatsoever. But I enjoy city life a little bit more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got the vibe.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah. So you grew up Stafford County. Mm-hmm. How was life for you in Stafford County?
Oh God. So there's and I don't want to speak on everyone's experience because like Stafford is.
It's about you. It's about you.
So me personally, growing up in Stafford, there really wasn't, and like mind you, my family, like on paper, I guess you could say, made kind of money. So like good, but had struggles growing up with like, you know, the normal family shit, which isn't actually normal looking back on it because I'll talk to my friends that like had decent like growing ups and they're like, that's not normal. And I'm like, well, it's my normal. Like, so yeah.
Fuck, it seemed pretty normal to me.
Yeah, it was happening every day of my fucking life. So it felt pretty normal. But yeah, so kind of where it was just weird. I just felt like it could have been so much better. Mm-hmm. And it could have been. But, you know, it's hard to touch on because I don't want to like trauma dump, but it's also like, you know what I mean?
I mean, you know what? It's cool. Whatever you're comfortable saying, you know what I mean? Like, I think for the average listener, right?
Yeah.
That's in the space, generally new to recovery or years in recovery, or they have a loved one that's struggling with any type of addiction issue.
Yeah.
You know, so trauma dumping in this, like I call this a safe space. You get what I'm saying?
Fair. So I'll go ahead and just start with saying like my own addictions came off of other people's and like long family history of addiction. So like my dad was an alcoholic forever, literally as long as I've known him. He's sober now.
Awesome.
10
Congrats
years.
to you. What the fuck? 10 years?
Yeah. 10 years.
Applause to you, good sir, wherever you may be.
Right? He's actually probably going to be watching this because I'm going to send him the link. So love you, Dad. Proud of you.
That's what's up. Good job, Pops.
Yeah, we love you, Eric. Growing up with an alcoholic dad, and my mom was like always working, and so was Dad really. So like parents were like kind of there physically, but not really like mentally and emotionally. Mm-hmm. So growing up in a town where like everything is super cliquey already. I mean, Stafford is like rich county. So if you if your family wasn't like military or your parents weren't like friends and you didn't go to church or like you weren't rich.
You was like the outsider.
Yes. And if that was the case, like everyone grew up with each other, but very quickly. You know what I mean? And I was never really the type, like I had a lot of friends.
To click up.
Yeah. I mean, I did, but I just never, I don't know. I just wasn't really like that. I had my specified friends, but we never really were in like groups kind of thing. So, it was really hard to like fit in, I guess, there.
Nah, I dig that because I'm originally from Florida.
Okay.
And I moved to Richmond when I was 13.
Okay.
And it was kind of the same vibe almost. Like we moved to Northside first. Mm-hmm. Well, kind of like, you know, your story. My dad was always working. So when he left us in Florida, he was like my best friend growing up.
Right.
So I was explaining this to my wife because we went down to Florida, Tallahassee last weekend to see my grandparents. They're, you know, elderly, sick, probably on the last leg of life. You know, they lived a good one. And she saw how much love I was surrounded with by like aunts, uncles, cousins, like old childhood friends. And she was like, I see what you mean now. You know, because when I came here, my dad was under the assumption that these things could just be recreated. and they can't. You know what I'm saying? So when I got dumped here, life changed quickly because I was the outsider.
Right.
You know, I went from always having somebody to call on, always having a place to go to, man, I don't know shit. Yeah. And the style was completely different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm from Florida. We was wearing shorts, Jordans, tees year round. And I got here and it was Averex jackets, Timberland boots, Abercrombie and Fitch. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is this? Like, my first day at middle school, I went to Short Pump Middle. And I went to school in like some shorts and a Emmitt Smith jersey. And everybody was like, yo, who the fuck? Like, who is this kid? So it was like, you know, like an eye-opening experience. And it fucked me up because I couldn't find a space to fit in. And, you know, they say your addiction starts well before you take that drink or drug. Right. And that's kind of how it started, like an ability to want to fit in, want to be quote unquote popular and shit.
Yeah. So with me and my, like, I started really, I mean, I smoked weed like once or twice when I was younger, when I was like 13, but I never really did anything like crazy up until I had like reconstructive foot surgery on both my feet. And when I was in the hospital, they had me on a morphine drip at 14 years old. Oh, shit. And then when they sent me home, they gave me like Dilaudids, they gave me Vicodins, they gave me Percocet, and they were giving me a ton. I mean, mind you, I do have like pins and plates on my feet. Right. And like relearning how to walk at 14 can be not only like physically strenuous and painful.
Like mentally a struggle.
Yeah, because I was in fucking high school. I was a freshman in high school, and here I am in fucking crutches and like
boots and shit, having to learn to rewalk. Damn.
Exactly. So that was a whole thing.
And that also was probably before they knew the addictive side of those medications.
Yeah. So the time period that this all happened was actually in the same time period that we're now looking back on, where doctors were literally overprescribing people, where there's like lawsuits coming out because people were ODing and like having substance issues because doctors were they gave me like a 90-day supply for like a month.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I was
It's like the epitome of that TV show Dope Sick, yo.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
By the way, I made a cameo in that joint. Salute to me.
Did you really?
I did.
Okay, so I want to watch it so bad because like I love Michael Keaton, but also I'm just a little nervous because I'm like, how true is this gonna be?
it was an excellent TV show, yo. Like when I was there, you know, they did the extra scenes and I recorded 2 days and fucking forever in the middle of July. And the scene that they recorded was somebody threw a protest in New York. So it was supposed to look like we were wintertime New York City. Right. But it was 100 degrees here in July. So we were walking around in coats and shit. And it was fucking crazy because I sat there like all day, redid this scene like 50 times. It felt like up and down the steps at the Virginia Fine Arts Museum.
Oh my God.
And my scene,
sweating.
Oh my God, fucking everywhere. I was like, dude, this sucks. And it was still kind of COVID, so we had to wear masks and take them on and off. And the scene that made it was my fucking afro. Like, I was walking, the camera was like this, and then it just panned to the back of my head, and then you see Dope Sick like flash across my hair, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? But anyway, yo, back to you. This is your hour, yo. I'm just shooting the shit.
I love that. I can't. Where do we pick up?
Well, we were saying like, you had the 90-day supply. They were pretty much just handing these addictive substances to you at 14.
So with already being like emotionally, I guess, just, you know, having my own issues with like my dad and like my dad's drinking really picked up. My mom had to go overseas for a little bit. She was a civilian contractor and we were really broke. So she went overseas and picked up the extra money. But when she left, things got really bad. My dad just like couldn't
function pretty much.
Yeah, he couldn't handle her being gone, and
his partner was out.
Yeah, and like raising 2 teenage daughters and one who was
he still got hair.
Surprisingly, yeah. Surprisingly, yes. And it's not all gray yet. He still has his blonde hairs. He is 63.
Oh, okay. Yeah, young man.
Yeah. So, and mom's even younger, and she looks way better. Shout out, Debbie.
Salute, Debbie.
But yeah. So when that all happened, and this was all pre, you know, the surgery and meds and stuff. So I went through all of that between the time I was like, it was all of middle school. So literally 6th grade through 8th grade, she was gone.
Damn.
And then when she got back, we were kind of all just like dealing with, I guess, the like aftermath of her being gone and like dad's drinking, getting out of control and just kind of just being really bad. And then freshman year came around and that's when I had the surgery and I genuinely became like, it wasn't like I was mentally and emotionally dependent off it. I like physically was dependent on the medication because it fucking hurt. I mean, you got 13 pins in your plate.
Yeah.
Or 13 pins and then a plate in your foot. Like that's just
a lot.
Yeah, that's a fucking lot.
A fucking lot.
So yeah, it just like became a thing. And then once I started getting older and I was like healed from the surgery at this point, but I guess I didn't realize until I was like older, like when I was like 17, 18, then I was like, I could crushies up in stardom and, you know?
Now the wild shit starts.
Yeah. And so I did just that. I obviously wasn't getting prescribed them at this point. I was like going out with my friends, buying them from like our local dealer. And I was smoking a lot of weed at this point too. And honestly, the weed did help me like not do as much because it was kind of like the same thing for me. But then there was a period where I stopped smoking weed because I didn't have the money for it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to buy like
more
Dilaudid. Yeah.
Just keep fucking up.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I don't really know. I really honestly can't tell you how that stopped. I think that I just kind of, I ended up getting a job opportunity down here in Richmond. Job opportunity. I started stripping here in Richmond.
That's a job opportunity.
It was a job opportunity. And
tax-paying citizen, you know.
Thank you. Yes, I did I paid my dues. I paid my taxes.
Listen, there's nothing wrong. Get it how you live, baby.
Yeah. So, and that week, I had like just lost my friend group. We had all gone to a festival and they all like accidentally ate meth pretty much.
Shit.
Yeah. So they thought it was Molly, but also like who finds a bag of drugs on the ground and is like, let's all
just take it.
Yeah. And I was like,
people like us. That's who would do that.
Not me though. Okay.
Yeah, what is in that bag?
I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the path for me. But
shit.
When that happened, I guess like them being on, and then I don't blame them for this because like I understand. Obviously that was like a troubled scenario. I guess in their high, they somehow thought because I was the only one that didn't take it that I had set them up and like made them eat these drugs. So they all like excommunicated me pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
It's all your fault, Taylor.
Always.
Fuck.
So yeah, I ended up I got the job and I literally
Which strip club you was at?
I was at Rouge. Represent.
I don't know if one of them joints I got maced at. It was me and my buddy actually.
I'm gonna guess it was Paper Moon.
Maybe. It was the one right off the interstate. It's got the mural on the side of the building. I don't know what the fuck it was. This was mad long ago.
Which interstate? 95?
Yeah, 95. You get off 95 and it's like right when you get downtown.
Off the Franklin exit?
Yes.
That is Rouge.
That's Rouge?
That's Rouge.
So I wonder if you were working. Now we got to go into the memory banks.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Yeah, it was mad long ago though. I was fucking tanked and I got hit with friendly fire.
Okay.
My friend said something. I think he kept doing something inappropriate.
Do you remember what year this was?
I have to ask. I could tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask him because I'm sure there was like a Facebook thread of us like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I got the job and I told my dad. I told my mom I was stripping. I was straight up with her. Debbie's cool as fuck. She
That's
didn't
what's up.
care. Yeah. So I told my mom straight up, I was like, I'm going to go strip. And she's like, don't tell your dad.
Yeah, keep that shit low.
Yeah. So I told my dad I've got this job at this nice paying restaurant and I'm going to go serve. And I literally, like after.
It's not a full lie.
It wasn't.
It's kind of like half.
I mean, they served food.
Yeah,
they served
somewhat.
Food.
There's a lot of ass too, but you know.
Yeah, a lot of ass and pasties.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, yeah. That week,
shit.
Right after I got the job, I literally went home. We had family dinner, and I was like, "Hey, I got this job. I'm literally going to move into my friend's house in Richmond." And they're like, "Okay," and that was it. And I never touched pills
How old
again.
were you then?
I was 19.
You were 19 and just That was okay.
Mm-hmm. That was it.
And you were done with pills.
With pills.
So some new shit started kicking in. All right.
So I had been heavy smoking weed for a minute at that point. And I continued smoking weed. Honestly, I think that was like the best way to get me off of anything. And it worked for a good while. But then I started going to festivals. And also, let me just say, going to festivals does not automatically predict what is to come next.
Nah, man, my guy over here, he's a raver.
Yeah, see,
that's like his bag, yo.
See, and like I of course was like, for a long time didn't do anything when I went to festivals. I just smoked a lot of weed. I didn't even drink just because I didn't like what drinking did to my dad, and I was very like self-aware that I was like, I don't want to do that.
That's awesome. That you were, that self-aware to say at that one point, like, I
was going to say it didn't last long, but it's
shit
for a
don't.
while.
We allowed to make mistakes. So it's all good.
So I want to say like 20. Actually, it was like, I want to say it was like a month or two
after you got in.
After I got, after I started going that.
Richmond would do that to you.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was my choice, 100%. I also felt like I was in the headspace that I could dabble into things other than, because I felt like at least it wasn't such a heavy shit. Because like you're going from opiates to like, okay, maybe like a bump of coke or eating mushrooms, which is like so crazy that's a thought process. But
dog, we're addicts. That's how we rationalize things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It was like, okay, I'm not snorting.
I'm not smoking crack yet. Like, you feel me? But that was the thought process, and we can do blow all day, but we're not cooking crack.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. There's levels. To this shit.
Levels.
And I'm not at the far point that I was at, so it's cool. So I started doing. Psychedelics and started snorting coke and dabbled a little bit in ketamine. It wasn't like my most favorite thing, but it was the closest thing I could get to feeling drunk without having to actually drink. So I was like, fuck it.
Rightfully so. I got you.
And then end of 2018, I really decided that I was like, okay, I'm done with like snorting shit and I'm kind of over it. I ended up doing blow one night and I had a massive nosebleed and I was like, I'm dying. I was like, so that was it. That was it for everything else. And then, so that quit. But I think that was also the year that I started drinking a little bit more. Beginning of like 2019 was when I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to start drinking because at least I'm not snorting pills. At least I'm not snorting coke. At least I'm not doing K. At least I'm not doing psychedelics. It's alcohol.
But you still have
acceptable.
You got a substance that doesn't take you far off the deep end as far as like, I can walk into a restaurant and drink and nobody bats an eye.
Exactly.
But if I just dump powder on the table, everybody's going to look at me funny.
I mean, depending on which restaurant you're going into.
Depending on the establishment.
But that's neither here nor there. So,
salute the RVA. Yo.
Right? And I will say that like end of 2018 into 2019, I started losing a lot of people that were near and dear to me.
Like passing away?
Yeah. And there was a lot. I mean, it all kind of happened very fast too. Like I lost someone right before Thanksgiving and then I lost someone right after New Year's and then someone at the end of January and then I lost someone else in like May. But at the same time that I lost that person in May, I had graduated college, been the first and only person at that time in my family to have a college degree. My parents sold our childhood home, which is like a huge thing. I mean, we had that house from the time I was 6 months old until I was 22.
Damn.
21, 22, give or take. So like, and that was like the place I felt safe. Even though it carried so much like trauma and like bad memories, there was also like, that's home.
It's like a grounding effect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I feel like when I go to my parents' house, right? Like their sofa to me is like, I don't want to say my trauma spot, but it's like where you know what I mean? Like where it's hard to heal in the same place that hurt you.
Yeah.
But whenever I need like inspiration or I'm feeling like stagnant, I kind of go there and just take a nap.
Trauma bonded to the couch.
Yeah. I go fall into that shit and pass out and wake up and like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a, I don't know.
Like a reset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's something that although may hold like bad memories and spaces, it also holds like a lot of like genuine memories to the heart
Exactly.
that you're attached to.
It's also the place I've known literally my whole life that hasn't changed
Right.
up until that point. That was like the one thing. Because like
That was consistent.
Yeah, because like we had family that we would go to all the time, like my grandparents or my paternal grandfather. I mean, he moved 3 times that I can remember at least.
Okay.
So like he never had like a steady place that I would be like, oh, this is comfort home. Or,
Right.
And you know, like everyone in my family would kind of like move around and like switch houses and stuff. But our house was like the one place that never changed.
Right.
That was like
A super
home.
consistent
Yeah.
space to go to. I got you.
Exactly. And even if it was like a place of immense trauma, it was like comfort trauma. You know what I mean? It was still like.
Well, we
this is
love
still
sitting
good.
in our shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? we
Yup.
love it, you know?
Yep. So yeah, that was just like the year, everything just went downhill. Like my closest friends, I felt like 2 of my closest friends did pass away within a short, like 5-month span of each other. And I just, because I wasn't doing anything else, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to drink. And I really went out of control. I mean, I was drinking. It wasn't really so much how much I was drinking. It was just like the fact that I was drinking until I got blackout.
Yeah, just
like,
shitty drunk.
every night.
Yeah.
And it was weird because, oh, it's so scary. When I get blackout drunk, I'm so coherent. Not that I'm coherent, it's that I act coherent. And
Yeah, you
everyone's
can
like,
move around and people are talking to you and you don't know what the fuck is going on.
And it's like, it was weird because I would even feel like I was sober in the time being. But the next morning I'd wake up and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, how am I in my bed?
Yeah.
Where's my car?
I've been there.
Where's my
Plenty
car?
of nights is why I put it down.
Yeah. So that just kind of continued. And then, I don't know. I just really, I thought that because it wasn't, you know, the pills or anything else, that it was like, it's fine.
It's okay.
Acceptable. Yeah.
And it depends on the crowd too. You know?
Yeah.
For me, it was like I never truly thought I had an issue because everybody I was around was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it became like a running joke almost to us. Like, fuck, man, I don't know how I got home last night, dude.
Yeah.
Where'd you go? You know, like, I don't know.
And that's the thing too. Like I've always, after 2018 and 2019, really, I started hanging around people that were a lot older than me. I just like, because I felt for some reason that like, oh, I'm better than the group that still does K and Coke and they still
Right.
do all these things. So I just drink and I don't want to be, part of me obviously didn't want to be
You
near
was
the
a
powder.
fancy addict.
Oh, I was the most annoying fucking addict because I would go around telling people I'm sober from blah, 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 even though I was drinking like a fucking sailor. I mean, it was so ridiculous. And,
Holy shit.
yeah, I fully take accountability for being the biggest fucking hypocrite ever. But
It's life. We grow. We
Yeah,
learn. It is
exactly.
what it is, yo.
but yeah, I was hanging around like groups that were way older than me, people in like at the time I was like 22, 23, and my group of friends would be like in their mid 30s or like even older. And they would all be doing the same thing, but it was like they would judge me. I mean, I literally lost that friend group too because they were like, you're drinking way too much. Meanwhile,
Damn.
they're drinking the same amount.
Yeah.
I did act out on certain things, but like I was a fucking 23-year-old. And you chose to bring me in and you still sat here, drank with me, partied with me. I had no issues with that. But the minute I acted my age, so to speak, it was a problem.
They had an issue with it.
So
Shitty.
Yeah, it was. But truthfully, I know I was telling you about this earlier. Really what led me to be sober was a full accident. It was purely an accident. I'm glad it happened, but
Yeah, break that down. Break that down.
So, okay, so 2021 was obviously a year for everyone, but like for me especially,
shit.
I
It was right after COVID.
yeah, it was like the year of potential rebounding from 2020.
Dog.
Yeah, it was 2020 part 2, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, because shit was still shut down.
Yeah, it was. So that was the year where I cut off my sister and my dad. I didn't speak to either one of them for a long time. And I was just going through a lot of shit. So like my dad and I are healed and we're like past everything that's
what's
happened
up.
in the past. Because along with him being an alcoholic, he was a violent alcoholic to no one besides me, which obviously comes with a lot of like resentment and questioning and like the why me's, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we moved past it and but obviously there's still like pain in it.
Yeah. I mean, healing is a long, slow process, yo.
Exactly. Especially when you feel like, I don't know, I just could not let go of it. I felt like there were so many things that were making me hold on to it. And I cut off my sister as well because, like, she has a lot of survivor skill for not getting beat.
For not having happened to her and, like, witnessing it.
Yeah, and
I can see that.
I love her to pieces. I really do. But she really didn't do anything to stop it either. But, I mean, she's 5 years older than me, so I can understand her being the age she was. And, like, I mean, she wasn't my mom. So it's not like – and truthfully, it was, like, scary to intervene with
That's
my
what
dad.
I was about to say. It was probably, like, traumatizing and scary, like –
yeah.
And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. See, I'm a male and like beating and spanking and shit like that in an African American household. So I don't know nobody else's household.
Yeah.
Like that shit was like normal.
Yeah.
Like we, like, man, my daddy just beat me with the belt. Like we would talk about this shit openly. And then you grow up and you're like, man, that shit ain't normal. And then I've heard stories from people where their parents would like karate kick them and shit. Yeah. And I was like, I was like, bro, what? Yeah, my bad, man. But it's like, I was like, bro, what the fuck? And like we all like share that trauma where it's like, man, that really fucked me up because what hurt me the most is like after the ass whooping, my pops would come back and say, man, I did this because I love you.
Oh my God.
Like you love me.
Oh my
like,
God.
Bro, I'm fucking bruised. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And that really gave me a fucked up like mentality of like what love was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you beat me because you love me. I get it now. Like that's how he grew up.
Yeah.
And at the time, and that's all he knew. He didn't know communication. He didn't know how to show love. He didn't know patience and all of these things that I'm working on it. Like I'm not the most patient person, but with
nobody's perfect.
You know what I'm saying? 5 kids, like each
5?
5.
5.
I thought I told you that. Yeah,
No,
5. 5 of them motherfuckers, man.
5.
Yeah, sometimes I get jokes say, yo, I know you got about 13, but I got 5. 2 older stepdaughters, and then I got 3 of my own 13-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. It's the little girl that had me dancing and shit on TikTok. Yeah, busy, man.
Apparently, you were. Apparently,
yeah. It is what it is. Things happen.
Yeah, true. Very true. So yeah, when I started drinking, I guess I was like masking all of the things.
You're self-medicating.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I just couldn't let go of it like during that time period. So. Basically, what happened was I was like, fuck it. I'm finally going to quit. Like, not quit, but cut back. I was like, I really need to cut back on drinking. Because, like, truthfully, and no one fucking believes me to this day when I say this, but it is the fucking truth. Like, ex-roommates can tell you I was drinking a lot. I mean, probably a liter of Tito's by myself. But throughout the day, because I would wake up, like, early in the day. Or not tequila, I'm sorry, Tito's.
What is Tito's? Ain't that tequila?
Vodka.
Oh, vodka, man. See, look how long I've been removed from the game, yo.
Yeah.
That's a tequila.
And I would wake up in the day and start my day by drinking. And it would just be like a progressive thing. And I had such a fucking high tolerance that like even I would be pretty like, I'd be buzzed or like, feel some type of way, but I wasn't like blackout.
Right.
Some days I would be, depending on how quickly I drank.
But it never, that just affected you to be like, oh shit, I should stop.
I was the definition of a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, you graduated college and some more shit.
While I was drunk.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, yo. Yeah. I showed up to class drunk and they kicked me out of college.
Oh, so I did everything. Well, the first degree that I finished, I wasn't like.
You got multiple degrees?
I got 2.
Oh shit! Round of applause, man. Do your fucking thing. Salute to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. So the first degree I actually got after I was done. No, I was like right in my festival days. So I don't know how the fuck I did that, but I did it. Yeah, I got my associates in I finished in December of 2018. And then I got my bachelor's just this past October. But I started in 2020 and I finished in 2022.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I was literally dealing with recovering or, quitting drinking while I was in the midst of my bachelor program.
That is amazing. Amazing. What a feat
Yeah.
to do.
It was a journey.
So take us through. You got sober by accident.
Yes.
I keep cutting you off and
I know,
talking
it's
about
okay.
mad other shit.
I'm the same way, so this works perfect. So I was actually at my friend's, former friend's bachelorette party, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna drink as much. And I just, throughout the weekend, I could tell I was starting to have like panic attacks, and my panic attacks like do that thing where it, everyone's panic attacks are different, but like it's weird with mine. When I feel like I'm starting to panic, I have the like stomach drop sensation of like
a roller coaster.
Yes, but also that translates to me whenever I used to like trip or eat shrooms or acid. You get that stomach drop feeling when the peak hits.
Well, never mind. I don't know what that's like.
Well,
I get it.
The more you know. So that's at least for me. I would get like the stomach drop pit feeling, and I'd be like, "Oh shit, okay, all right, here we go." And
we're on the ride.
Yeah, and that's how my panic attacks would start. So I'd be like, "Fuck,
here we go."
Yeah.
Arms up.
Yeah, seriously. So, and I get like super shaky. I feel like I'm going to pass out kind of thing, which it seems like a little bit more common, but it really makes you feel like you're going fucking crazy. And I never really, I know everyone jokes about like intrusive thoughts and like, oh my God, my intrusive thoughts won today. I bought a coffee, but like, no, I was having like serious like intrusive thoughts of like, oh fuck, you're breathing like way too fast. You're thinking way too much. Like you should just like end your life pretty much. And it's not that, I know I said this to you earlier. It's not like you like really want to end your life. But
the thought is there and it's super present.
And the thought is like, okay, I don't want to end my life, but I don't want to feel like this forever. Because like sometimes, especially when you're like, if you're ever tripping, you get stuck in a loop sometimes where you're like, fuck, am I going to feel this way forever? You know what I mean? And so it's kind of the same. It's like almost one and the same there. So I kept having like small bursts of anxiety like while I was there. And finally I went home. And that night that I got home, I don't know what triggered it. I just had a massive, well, actually I do know what triggered it. It was the same day of the anniversary of a major car accident that I got into that gave me a huge concussion. I got diagnosed with like post-concussive syndrome.
And everything. Shit.
Yeah, it was really bad. And it was the anniversary of that. And I had just driven from fucking Shenandoah by myself through the mountains. Gorgeous drive. Gorgeous drive. I had no issues doing it. But I think that somewhere in my body, it like remembered the trauma. And I just had a panic attack and started freaking out. And I thought I was going to faint. I was more scared of me fainting than anything because I lived alone at the time.
Right.
So I called the ambulance and they came in and they're like, okay, do you know what I told them, I was like, I know I'm having a panic attack. I just feel like I'm going to pass out. And I'm worried that if I pass out, I'll have a seizure just because I used to have seizures way back in the day also. Not like anything crazy seizures, but like I would pass out for times.
And if you're living alone, you know, you don't want to faint out, hit your head.
Exactly.
Nobody there to check on you.
Literally sitting on the floor with the fucking fan on me, like, please don't pass out.
Preventative measures.
So, and they told me, they're like, look, you're really like obviously very here, like you're coherent, like you know what's going on. So if you want to go in the ambulance, you can. If you do that, though, they might want to commit you. And I didn't want to be committed, but at the same time, I was like, I maybe should, just because I'm afraid that if the meds don't kick in right away, then what's going to happen?
But you wanted to be saved from yourself at that point.
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, I was more afraid that the intrusive thoughts would come back within that short period of time that they would wear off and me taking them again. So I went to the ER and I told them, I was like, I couldn't even stop crying. Like, I couldn't stop crying. I was hyperventilating. Like, anytime I tried to talk, I was just sobbing. Like, it was like I wasn't even, like, actually crying. It was just the tears, like, streaming down my face.
And you could not stop it.
And so I went in there and I was like, I'm having really bad anxiety. I know I'm having, like, an episode of some sort. I think I'm going through alcohol withdrawals, and I need to be back on medication. And I did. I went through full-blown alcohol withdrawals at 24. And I was like,
that's so wild.
I was like, okay, so maybe we're not just cutting back. So yeah, September 25th, 2021. That was it for me.
That's when it all stopped.
That's when it all stopped. That's when that stopped and my life began.
Change.
As fucking cliche as that is.
That is incredible. And how old were you again?
I was 24.
24. Yo, Sean, Could you imagine being 24 and saying, man, fuck everything? Bro.
See, yeah, but I started at 4.
I started way younger. My first
Yeah.
was like 16, 15. But special guest, if you can't hear him, I'll repeat what he's saying. He started fucking up real young. Yeah, but with everything like 5-6 years after. But 24, that is incredible.
Yeah.
To 24, bro. 24, I was at the peak of running. You know what I'm saying? Just going fucking insane, bro. Fresh out of, I got out of jail at 22. My girlfriend at the time got pregnant the next year. And that sent me on a spiral because here I am, a felon. I barely can take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And all I had done to that point was get fucked up, sell drugs, do a lot of frivolous shit. Yeah. And it was like, well, what do I do now? You know what I'm saying? And I tried to move away. I moved back to Florida. And that was a huge fucking mistake.
Yeah, I was about to say, Florida is not.
Yeah, it was more money and more access to shit. So that lasted like 6 months. So I came back and I was just on. And I didn't find 24. I found mine at 27.
Yeah. And
that came in the form of I told you before, like a failed suicide attempt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My second son was a month old. It's my little dog now. And at that time, I didn't know what being a father was. You know what I'm saying? Like, the relationship I was in, we hated each other. I wasn't taking care of responsibilities. Yeah. We were living at my parents' house together, dead broke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I had beat myself into a submission and I could not see a way out of it.
Yeah. And you also don't even know yourself at that point.
Word.
So it's hard to you know what I mean? It's really hard to even know how to be in a relationship or even a partnership of any sort. Like you can't do anything as a team if you can't even be yourself.
Word. And we didn't know each other because our relationship started with partying.
Yeah.
And as a person that had I had ambitions, I just didn't know how to get there. And I didn't have the help, and everybody else's way of doing things was, go to school, get a job. That's the shit. And in my mind, I watched my grandfather. He was an entrepreneur, and I heard his stories over and over as a kid, like at 16, lying on the military sheet and joining the military, coming back and opening businesses and being a multimillionaire. And I'm like, man, how the fuck can I do that? Like, I don't want to work for nobody. Right. And that shit was always embedded in my head. And people would say that I was crazy for thinking that way. And it was just because I was around small-minded, well, some of them, not everybody, but, like small-minded individuals. Like, man, you got big ideas and no work ethic.
Right.
Like, well, fuck y'all, like I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So after years and years of trying or half-assed trying, I can't give it your all if you fucking up, unless you're you, because you graduated college and shit, which is extremely impressive.
Thank you.
Like,
twice.
Twice.
College,
yes.
Twice.
Let's not just emphasize the 2 times.
Yeah.
Me, I ain't even been able to do that shit once. I didn't even walk the stage at high school.
Let me also say that, I had tremendous amount of help, so I can't take full credit. I mean, I take full credit for my sobriety, absolutely, because that was me. But college and getting through that definitely came with some help.
Okay.
I will also say, though, on that topic of being around certain people and not having the support, I felt like I almost had too much, not to say too much support, but definitely way too much pressure.
Okay.
Way too much pressure, because my sister never really, I mean, she was not a college gal. She was not and that's fine.
Yeah.
But she was not going to be the one that went to college and
graduated, had the diploma or whatever.
And if she got a diploma in something, that's cool, but it wasn't going to be I did healthcare.
Okay.
It wasn't something that typical or what we think is typical. You know what I mean? So for me, I definitely had the extra pressure of we know you can do it. You can definitely do it. And I was fuck, please stop doing that. Like, I know I can do it too, but I don't need you sitting here like
egging it on.
Yeah.
I
like,
got
I'm
you.
almost the type of person that I enjoy the support, but sometimes too much is like, it's pushing it for me because I
Word.
grew up so independent. And like, I didn't have my parents around. And if they were around, they weren't like mentally there and emotionally there when I needed them to be. So for me, it was like, okay, now that you guys are, and I appreciate it so much, I really do. But now I'm like, all right, chill out.
Relax. I got it. We've gotten this far.
It's almost like I
understand.
can't, and I've talked about it through therapy, and my therapist is always like, that's your coping defense mechanism. And I'm like, I know, but I know it is, but I just can't accept. I don't accept compliments well. I don't accept like good praises well, and I don't accept help well. I do now that I'm sober.
Yeah, I was about to say that's probably like part of your like recovery journey now is being acceptance of, you know, the compliments and feeling like you're deserving of those things.
Yeah,
because I struggle with that shit too.
And I definitely, it's weird because I never felt like I didn't deserve the compliments. It's just like accepting it and getting it when I didn't get it for so long was it was such a concept to me when I started getting it. I was like
whoa.
Yeah, it almost felt weirdly manipulative because anytime I did get like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I felt like
it came with a price.
It did. Yeah, it did.
I got you. That was my biggest and still is my biggest hurdle with asking for help with shit. Yeah. Because whenever I needed help in addiction, like it always came with a price. And some prices I'm just not willing to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's like the other thing with me as well is like sometimes I will get help from like my parents or my family, but it'll come with, well, we did this for you. So
like slap in the face.
Yeah.
If you did something for me, you know, do it with love.
Yeah, do it for me. Don't just do it so that you can
If I do something for somebody, like once I do the deed, it's forgotten.
Yeah.
Like I never have to speak about it. Like
it shouldn't be talked about again.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I had a homeboy I had loaned something to, and he kept texting me like, hey, I forget what he would say. I was like, bro, like I forgot I even did that shit. Like we don't even have to speak about this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is, bro. Like you hit me, needed help. And that's where I left it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you come back again, I might be like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah. But at that point, it's just like, okay, let's.
But you know, if you need help with this, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, go do it, take care of what you got to take care of, and just know that shit came from the heart. Yeah. Because that's how I like to be now. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've learned about myself in recovery.
Yeah.
So I ask you, you know, giving it up at 24, you said you're 26 now?
I'm 26. I just turned 26 in December.
Yo, happy belated birthday. I feel like I knew that, though. I think you had told me that.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure. I forget a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what have you learned about yourself in recovery in this year and how long? Year and what?
A year. It'll be a year and 6 months.
Year and 6
months.
On the 25th.
A year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself?
Oh, my God. Honestly, I don't really know if I can say I even learned more. I think I already knew everything. I think now I believe it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I feel like now it's kind of, I don't know. I think now I'm just more secure in myself, and I feel like a lot of the choices I've made, I feel more solidified in, and I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Because for the longest time I felt like, you know, going to school and stuff, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this because my family is counting on me to go to college and do all these things. And now I'm like, no. And even though I did have my own personal choices behind going in the healthcare field, it was extremely easy to be like, yeah, I'm going to go in healthcare and get a degree because my family wants me to have a degree and wants me to go to college. You know what I mean? So I think now that I'm sober, it's easier for me to grasp, like, and believe that I actually did
what you're capable of.
Yeah. And I think that, because, you know, I've like tried multiple times to quit drinking. I tried to cut back. I tried to be like, I'm going to change. And that shit did not change.
Nah.
So
everybody got to hit their rock bottom.
Yeah. I mean, and even if my rock bottom was a fucking accident, it was still rock bottom nonetheless. And I will take it.
Yeah. Word. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's rock bottom is different.
Yeah. And I'm running with it. So.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I definitely will say also, like, I don't regret any of it at all. Like, I know there's definitely some regrets in how I treated people and reacted to things, and how I wish that I could have been less shitty to some people. But I also don't regret it because it's led me to where I am.
Yeah, you live and learn. And I think somebody said it, and I don't know if it was on this podcast or where the fuck I heard it, but it was like, if you have no regrets, like, you haven't lived and you haven't learned.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, living life without regrets, is dope, because I don't feel like I have any, but I felt like even my regrets, I learned a lesson in that.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? No, absolutely agreed. Yeah.
100%. What, so I'm gonna double back on something.
Sure.
You said that you started losing, like, close friends, right?
Yes.
I too. I mean, I think everybody in this addiction into recovery space, like, we are lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To still be here. Like, I tell all the time, like, I got pictures where I'm hugging ghosts.
Yeah.
You know, my arms around my friends. They're no longer here. So I've been losing friends since I was 17. Yeah. And it almost, like, I averaged like one a year.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
Sometimes
like,
two. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it got tough. And that's what made me begin to speak out and use social media and different platforms to, speak out about recovery and sobriety, because I had a homeboy, God rest his soul, like, always felt like if he knew that I was sober, because I had been like 5 years sober, but I was just like super quiet about it.
Yeah.
Like, people knew, but I wasn't like, hey man, I don't drink, here's what I do.
You weren't talking about it.
Yeah, and it hurt me to the core, where I was like, I can't keep this inside anymore.
Right.
Like, I have to say something. I got to let people know, like, because people know me directly. And it's like, it's different with a tangible source. You could reach out, touch me, you could call me, you could pull up on me and see, like, Jared changed. Like, he knew me. Like, I was wild as fuck, out here just running amok all the time. And it was just the way of life almost. Right. And I didn't feel deserving of anything different until I found recovery and changed, my internal, like, source, my heart, to understand, like, man, I am deserving of love. Like, I give a lot of love. I show a lot of love. So when, people do say shit to me, I'm like, man, I can receive it now. Now you're starting to figure that out about yourself when it comes to, like, overcoming grief and, like, the internal dialogue.
I will say, so one of my actually two of my friends that passed, the two ones that were closest to me, definitely hit harder than anything. So I had my one friend, can I name names?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So her name was Jillian, and she had a history, but was sober-ish. Like, she used to do heroin, but she had quit. And there was a portion of time where she had asked me if she could come live with me. And I told her no, because I knew at that point she was doing a lot of coke and a lot of K. And, like, for her, that was fine. And it was okay because it wasn't heroin.
Right.
And I think it was like a couple weeks later, she was going through some shit and actually relapsed and passed away. She overdosed. So I dealt with a lot of guilt over that, because I was like, fuck, I know there was nothing I could do. There was nothing anyone could have done. I mean, probably things people could have done, but it wouldn't have, either way things happen. You know what I mean? So I definitely overcame a lot. I had to deal with that shit for a long time. Still do. And then my other friend, Chaz. Chaz actually lived with me at one point. And he ended up passing away in May. And it was just really sad circumstances. And it just sucked, because we would go to festivals a lot together. And we went to one in particular where he had diabetes. And he would ration his insulin, because at that time they weren't capping insulin.
Right.
So he would fucking ration his insulin. And we went to an event in Chicago, and he almost went into a diabetic coma, and I had to call the ambulance. And it was like a whole ordeal. That was back in 2018. But between 2018 and 2019, he was, like, just not doing not well. But, when you're rationing your insulin as a diabetic, you're obviously not going to be on the best of terms.
Right.
He had just gotten out of the hospital because he went, I think he went septic. He had, like, an ulcer in his foot or something in his foot. But either way, I was, like, taking him to his doctor's appointments, and he had been talking about like wanting to go home and like live with his parents and like, you know, just kind of start over, like not do like K anymore because he was doing a bit of it. And he ended up passing away like a week later. So it's just like real shit, like circumstances from someone who I felt like, not to toot my own horn, it's not anything to brag about, but someone who I felt like I had saved before.
Right.
And who I was taking to his doctor's appointments, who had wanted to be better, and he passed away. It was just like felt like it was like my friends were like slipping through my fingertips. Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you.
And I'm what, 23 at this time? So it's just fucking like unfathomable to me. I mean, I had been losing people from a young age. Like first like real brush of death that I had was I was 18. And the first guy I'd ever like dated, really like had feelings for, had taken his life. We hadn't talked in a long, long time. But that was like my first real like, oh fuck, people die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like family members had died, but like you don't expect.
Yeah, because we young. You know what I'm saying? We get that invincible.
Oh yeah.
Like it can't happen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you especially don't think about, and that happened in my hometown. And like that, not surprising. Unfortunately, not surprising, because that's just like the climate of Stafford is like cliques and other shit. And he did have other shit going on. So I won't delve into that because I respect him and his family. But,
Understood.
But it's just, it was like crazy that it started then and it just continued and continued and continued until when I was a young adult. And like still even now, I feel like it's just so crazy that random people that I've crossed paths with will end up passing away. And I'm just like, fuck.
Again, no.
Yeah. And it's like, fuck, man.
Nah, I get it, yo. Because I too, you know, I think it's just a story of overcoming addiction. Like we all kind of share that trauma bond almost. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I will say, like, some of the people that have passed weren't from substance. It's just been like from fucked up situations in life and, you know, just mental illness and those kinds of things that substance could absolutely be a part of. But yeah, and it just sucks when all that like ties in together when you're already going through like a hard time and like having a hard time dealing with like your childhood trauma and like dealing with like understanding this is life and that's a part of life. And it's like, and then you have people sitting there that are like, oh, just wait till you're in your like 30s and 40s. And you're like, fuck, I don't want to be in my 30s and 40s.
Who the fuck wants to live that long if I'm already feeling this shitty?
Yeah, like you're sitting here telling me, oh, just wait, it gets worse. Like, okay, fucking thanks. That doesn't help at all.
No, it sounds really shitty.
Yeah, it's like, okay, great. Thanks for ruining my future for me.
But you out here and thriving now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So shit, this was a really good conversation. You know, I appreciate you, pulling up to the podcast. Let me see. What do I normally do? What is a ode of advice that you could give to, the young person? Because I'm an old man. The young person.
I actually was reading a poem on Instagram.
Shit, here we go. What was it?
So
pull it up. Okay.
I thought it was really sweet because I was like, fuck. I was like, I wish I could say this to like 17-year-old me. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
It was just like the series of like, like these little meme drawings kind of thing.
Yeah, and you swipe through.
Yeah.
I fall in like rabbit holes with those things.
Yeah.
Especially on the Law of Attraction Live Instagram.
Yeah,
like, I
and
love
you're just like,
shit.
oh, fuck. Here we go. Yeah. So this poem, I don't know, it just like kind of, I knew at some point I was gonna, and this is what we were talking about earlier with the manifestation shit. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna read this at some point tonight.
Go ahead, read that.
Okay, so it says, look, kid, you're 17 and everybody here wants to die all the time. The world is sick with sadness, and in some ways it'll always be. You hurt without ends, without direction or reason or hands in sight. You feel the world burn inside your God-shaped body that you don't love, but your lover sometimes does. When it's bent right or not. The world is so painfully big when you're that young, but kid, look, you've got to go home, wherever that is. Look both ways before crossing the road. I remember being 17. I hurt everywhere, and so no, I'm not denying any pain. There's plenty of it. All I'm saying is sometimes strangers make you smile silly under the sun, and sometimes fathers come back home. I was nauseous-hearted, grief-skinned, but the morning came. More or less, it always does. Someone kisses you. Ocean mouth lovesick. They'd have no one but you. Kid, I know it hurts plenty, but look, we still have laughter. Grocery store aisles, bread, cut apples, we still have light. It's also beautiful. Don't you want to see how beautiful it gets after this? Don't you want to be here when the sun sits on your face and you exhale for the first time in a long time? Kid, you've got to be here. You've got to see it.
That is beautiful.
Right?
Yeah, that is beautiful.
I was like, damn. And it's so true. Like, I wish that everyone always says, like, oh, you're a kid, enjoy it, and just, enjoy being young and shit. And I fucking hated when people said that to me. Because I was like, you have no idea what is going on behind closed doors.
Yo, if you just tap into this brain of mine,
you have no idea how many drugs are at my nose right now. Don't fuck with me.
Right, right.
But yeah, I really fucking wish I listened to that. And but at the same time, no regrets on that.
Listen, you here now.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part.
But I definitely, I cannot stress enough how fucking much better my life is now that I start thinking about myself. And I know sometimes people are like, don't be selfish. No, fuck that. Be selfish.
That was the best advice I got early in recovery. Yeah. I got lucky. My therapist, and I don't know if I told you, but after my failed suicide attempt, I went to the hospital, came home, and I met my therapist the day before, or 2 days before I tried to commit suicide. And he was like, all right, well, just don't drink through the weekend. I'm like, all right, sweet. Well, I went and got fucked up the next day and went to the hospital Friday, came home Monday, and I had to see him Tuesday, right? And I walk in there head low, like, shit, I fucked up again. But I had, 4 days sober then. It's like, man, so how'd the weekend go? I'm like, you want me to be honest? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, not so good. It's like, what happened? I'm like, well, I got drunk when I left. I tried to commit suicide. I went to the hospital, and here I am talking to you. And that man saved my life. He was like 60-plus-year-old white guy. I went in there like braids. Pretty sure I had my gold fronts in, like just looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing else we could have had in common.
Right.
But in that moment, he was like, I understand. And I was like, yo, you do? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, man, I got 40 years sober. And he started breaking. I got goosebumps now, like thinking about it.
Yeah. So do I. Fuck.
You feel me? It was like, holy shit. Like, he was the first.
Literal goosebumps.
I'm telling you, like shit, standing my little ass arm hair, standing up and shit. But dude was like, he really understood me, and it opened my world to the possibilities. And he looked at me and he said, "Man, look, this is your opportunity to be selfish." Yeah. And you hear the word selfish, it's like that's bad. Like you should always want to help. He's like, no. Selfish in the sense where you find out who you are.
Yeah.
You spend time with yourself. Like, who is Jared? Do you even know? Like, what do you like? What don't you like?
Yeah, because again, like, how can you feed into other people? How can you be with other people? How can you feed those connections if you don't have a full sense of self?
Exactly.
And whether that be, like, being fully sober, being California sober, whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever. Like, put yourself first. Like, you can love everyone else in the process, but still love yourself.
Word, because you are the most important piece to that puzzle.
Exactly. I hate to be so cliche, but like, going in the ground by yourself.
By your goddamn self. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you out of here dolo.
Actually, sidebar on that. I have a funny story about that.
Oh, shit.
So my great grandma always wanted to be buried with our uncle. I can't remember. I think it was Uncle Woody. Either way, somehow we got his ashes in her casket or her ashes in his casket. I can't remember which was the one, but they're buried together.
Yeah, she did not go. One of them, but neither of them went solo.
Yeah, so technically they didn't go solo, but you're probably going to go solo. I mean, unless you do some shit like that. Technically, we weren't allowed to do that, but we did it anyway.
Should I tell my family I want to be a tree? Like, just plant me in the yard, yo. Like, I don't.
Well, I don't know, because I don't want to get like pissed and shat on. But
and then I'm like.
But at the same time, that's the humbling experience of human nature. Word. So if that happens,
I'll be a tree forever. Or a piece of paper somewhere, like however it goes, like I'll live on.
Yeah.
But nah, yo, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You gonna pull up again? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Absolutely.
All right, bet. Anything else you want to say, or you good?
I mean, just live your life.
Yo, keep living. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Words from Taylor. Peep it. Redeem Yourself podcast. Yo, once again, thank you so much for sharing your story, inspiration, strength, and health. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And until next time, we're going to be out. Bye.
Bye.